Here is your full emotional, engaging, long YouTube-style story with a strong hook, 2 chapters, smooth pacing, and plain paragraphs, plus your YouTube lines at start and end exactly as requested. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Krna na boli ga. Aaj ki kahani shuru hodi hai ik isai lam se, jisa dek kar apka dil hila bi jayega, or bar bi iega. Because imagine this. A deaf elderly woman, sitting alone outside a quiet roadside diner, silently crying, completely unaware that a group of teenagers is recording her pain, laughing at her, mocking her. But what happened just minutes later? No one, not even those bullies, could have imagined. Because that's when the bikers showed up. Nina was a 72-year-old woman, born deaf, gentle in nature, and always carrying a small notebook to communicate with the world. She lived alone after her husband passed away 3 years ago, and every Sunday she visited Blue Pine Diner, a small roadside cafe where she and her husband used to eat pancakes and sit by the window. That Sunday, she arrived early. The sky was gray but peaceful, and she sat on the bench outside the diner with her old handbag and her notebook, waiting for the diner to open. But something was different today. Her eyes were red, her hands shaking, her breathing uneven. She had received a letter that morning informing her that her small house, the only memory she had of her husband, was being acquired for a new highway expansion. She didn't know where to go. No children. No siblings left. No one. She had come to the diner just to sit where she felt close to her husband, to gather strength. But that peace didn't last long. 3 teenage boys from town, Leo, Mark, and Darren, walked by, chewing gum, smiling in that disrespectful, careless way. They saw her sitting there crying silently, because Nina's tears made no sound. And instead of empathy, they found entertainment. Leo pulled out his phone. "Dude, look, she can't even hear us," he laughed. Mark leaned in close to Nina's frightened face and shouted something cruel, knowing she couldn't hear a word. Darren grabbed her notebook and tossed it in the dirt. Nina panicked, reaching for it with trembling hands. The boys recorded everything, laughing harder every second. And then, a deep rumble shook the quiet road. Motorcycle engines. 3, 5, 8, 10 bikers rolling in, leather jackets glistening, boots heavy against the ground. The pavement vibrated under their arrival. The bullies froze. The bikers parked their motorcycles in a perfect intimidating line. Leading them was a tall man with gray in his beard and a scar down his eyebrow, Rex, president of the Iron Souls Motorcycle Club. Rex stepped off his bike, eyes sharp, voice low. "What's going on here?" The boys tried to hide the phone, but Rex's second-in-command, Bear, already saw the screen as it slipped from Mark's hand. The video was still playing. A deaf elderly woman crying. A notebook thrown in the dirt. Laughter. Mockery. Bear's jaw tightened. Rex's fists clenched. And the boys, suddenly looked very, very small. Rex knelt beside Nina gently, picking up her notebook with both hands. When she realized someone was talking to her, she looked up at him in confusion, wiping her tears. He pointed to himself, then made the simple, "okay," gesture with his fingers. Nina nodded weakly. Rex's eyes softened instantly. Behind her, the teenagers tried to sneak away, but Bear grabbed the back of Leo's hoodie. "Oh no, no. You're not going anywhere." Rex stood up and turned to the boys. "You made her cry." "And no sir, we were just..." "Just what?" Bear growled. "Having fun?" Rex didn't shout. He didn't need to. His silence was heavier than thunder. "Delete the video," he said. "And apologize." The boys hesitated until 10 bikers stepped forward at once. Their apology came out shaking, awkward, desperate. Nina looked at them with confusion, still wiping tears. She didn't know why they were apologizing. She just wanted her notebook back. Rex handed it to her gently. She held it tight like a lifeline. Then the bikers did something no one expected. Bear pulled out a small pen and wrote in her notebook. "Are you okay? Do you need help?" Nina read the words. Tears fell again, this time from relief. She wrote slowly. "I lost my home." Rex exchanged glances with his crew. They didn't need to discuss it. They had already made a decision. "Come inside," Rex signed clumsily, trying to copy the signs he remembered from a cousin who was deaf. Nina understood enough. The bikers walked her into the diner as it opened, giving her the seat she always took with her husband. They didn't let the bullies escape yet, they had one more lesson planned for them. Chapter 2. Inside the diner, sunlight warmed the wooden tables. The waitress, Marlene, greeted Nina with a hug. She had known her for years. When she saw her puffy eyes and trembling hands, she looked furious, but then Rex explained everything. The bikers asked Nina about the letter. She took it out of her purse with shaking fingers. Rex read it carefully, frowning deeper with each line. "They can't just throw her out like this," he muttered. Bear leaned over his shoulder. "It says she can appeal it, but she needs representation." Nina wrote in her notebook. "I can't afford a lawyer. I'll lose everything." Rex slammed his palm on the table, not in anger, but in decision. "No. You're not losing anything." The Iron Souls had once been a rough club, but in recent years they'd changed. They volunteered at shelters, helped families rebuild homes after storms, escorted funerals for veterans, and helped seniors with repairs. Their reputation was tough, but their hearts were stronger. Rex called someone. "Yeah, Tom? I need you at Blue Pine Diner. Bring paperwork. And make it fast. It's urgent." Tom was a biker too, but he was also an ex-lawyer who now helped people for free. Minutes later, Tom walked in, briefcase in hand. He sat next to Nina, carefully explaining everything by writing short sentences she could understand. He told her she had rights, that the acquisition wasn't final, and that he would handle everything. For free. When Nina realized strangers, bikers, were fighting for her, she began crying again. Rex gently patted her shoulder, unsure what else to do. The bullies were still outside with two bikers watching them. After Tom finished, Rex told the boys to come in. Their faces were pale. Rex asked the waitress for 3 glasses of water and placed them in front of the boys. "You think you're strong because you hurt someone who couldn't defend herself," he said quietly. "Strength isn't hurting people. Strength is protecting them." The boys stared at their shoes. "You're going to make it right," Rex continued. "You're going to help Nina. Every Sunday. Until I say you're done." The boys nodded quickly. "And you're going to go to your principal, and show him the video. Tell him exactly what you did." Their eyes widened. "But no excuses. Either you do it, or we'll take you ourselves." They had no choice. They agreed. Nina watched all this, not understanding every word, but she understood the meaning. The kindness. The justice. The protection she had never expected. Bear wrote in her notebook. "You're safe now. Your family." Over the next weeks, Nina's life transformed. Tom fought her case aggressively. The bullies actually kept their word and came every Sunday. They helped with groceries, cleaned her yard, repaired her fence, and even learned basic sign language so they could speak to her properly. Leo wrote to her one day in sign. "I'm sorry. I was wrong." For the first time, Nina smiled at him genuinely. And the bikers? They visited her almost every other day, fixing her home, bringing supplies, eating with her at the diner, making sure she was never alone again. When the final legal notice arrived 2 months later, Nina held her breath. Tom opened it,